Ladies and gents, the mid-season patch is upon us. And with it, we have got some good old pre and post testing. Now, a couple reasons why we do this. Number one, it's good to just see side by side how much something has actually changed. Having that point of reference is really important. And number two, sometimes, and this has actually happened in the past, we've done pre and post testing of things and been like, yo, nothing has changed. And then something may have turned out that maybe that change was actually not implemented, despite it being in the sandbox patch notes. Today though, guys, we're gonna be going over everything that was on that mid-season patch, starting with pulse rifles. Pulse rifles reduce auto aim angle at 0 aim assist stats by 10%. Now keep in mind, guys, this scales, so the lower the aim assist of your weapon, the more severe this will be. Now, high impact pulse rifles are known to have pretty much some of the worst aim assist values in the game, which is exactly why we tested it with things like Messenger, Phylotatic Spiral. And when testing this pre 7.1.5, what we noticed was that, yeah, it was very forgiving. Even when not aimed at the head, our bullets would actually bend pretty generously. Now, post 7.1.5, we tested with the same weapons, same pretty much everything, and you had to be a lot closer to the head. Almost right on it for the bullet to bend, and it's the little subtle things like this, guys, that are gonna move high impact pulse rifles out of the meta. Again, it isn't a huge difference yet, and if you're accurate, you'll be just fine. But in those moments where your shot does deviate, especially on the third shot of that 3-round burst, you may notice it may not connect, not like it used to. And with the massive range overhaul, which by the way is going to heavily affect pulse rifles, most notably high impact pulse rifles next season, for my people that love the dad rifles, I'm just telling you right now, when it comes to these low aim assist pulses, most notably high impacts, you are going to start feeling the pain. If not now, for sure next season. Bungie is moving us away from that meta. And I know somebody out there's like, Cross, what are you talking about? High impact pulse rifles, meta? What? They actually work. Think about how long No Time to Explain has been popping off. But these low aim assist value pulse rifles are about to get slapped up. This is just one step in a multi-step process to make sure these weapons do not remain on top. And again, that's the double-edged sword. You've got a weapon that has a 0.67 time to kill value. Bungie's of course gonna make it more difficult to use. Now, lightweight bows. Bungie increased final accuracy by 10%. Now in our pre-testing right here, we just confirmed that auto aim where the arrow will bend towards the head. Post, lightweight bows do feel slightly more generous. Although, compared to the pre-footage, it's hard to really tell, right? For me, guys, when it comes to bows, it's all about the feel, man. And lightweights just don't feel good. We're gonna try a number of lightweights this week, but personally, guys, I have just never been a fan of lightweight bows. They don't feel good, and they do less damage than precisions. And if you're using a bow inside of PvP, yes, you may be sitting in the back like Legolas, or you could be like me and just quick swapping, right? I want something that's gonna do a lot of damage with one shot, and then I swap to something to do cleanup. Now, submachine guns made improvements to Shayura's Wrath ADS dynamic reticle. Now, the pre-reticle right here, guys, a lot of people said it sucks, it was clunky, it would block targets. I think it was pretty much unanimous that everyone in the community did not like this reticle. Now, post 7.1.5, the reticle does look much better. Now, some would still say it's chunky, but it is an improvement. With that being said though, I still maintain what I've been saying all along. Until Bungie gives us custom reticles, until you can decide whether or not you want to have a crosshair, a dot, a circle, whatever, similar to something like Overwatch, everyone is just gonna have a different opinion. Some people like their reticles chunky, and I've actually always liked thick reticles. Like, I love them thick and round. But again, that's not for everybody. Now, lightweight shotguns. Oh man, this one was interesting. First up, they reduced the spread angle of the outer horizontal pellets by 15%. Now, the spread angle was bad. Pre 7.1.5, lightweights were not a good archetype. It was not getting one-hit kills at 5 meters consistently. And we tested this with 5 different lightweight shotguns, and even Wastelander struggled. And Wastelander is like the best lightweight shotgun in the game. You know, I've got some people out there that love Reese Walker, and don't get me wrong, Reese Walker's great, but Wastelander, man, that's where it's at. Now, post 7.1.5, we tested this with Wastelander, Reese Walker, Reckless Endangerment, Without Remorse, and 7th Seraph. And you can actually see the spread looking slightly tighter against the wall. But Wastelander with opening shots was actually able to achieve 6-meter kills consistently, and 6.5 meters at times. Reese Walker with Iron Reach was able to achieve that 6-meter consistently up to 6.5 meters. Now, Reckless Endangerment, 7th Seraph, Without Remorse, those shotguns were actually hitting around 5 meters. Now, Without Remorse plus Fragile Focus, which by the way, Fragile Focus got a buff here recently. Yes, we need to go over a lot of different shotguns with Fragile Focus. It can reach up to almost 6.5 meters. Now, the overall range is slightly further now, but keep in mind, still not consistent enough to hit over 5 meters all the time. The There was actually times where it was getting the one-hit kill, and other times it was leaving them with just a sliver of health. I still feel like precision shotguns and even aggressives are still better, but especially precisions, right? That oval pellet spread on precisions is so good. It's literally the shape of a guardian, meaning every pellet has a chance to land as long as you are lining up that x-axis. We're going to be trying out lightweights more, and again, a huge pro to lightweight shotguns is the fact that they boost movement speed and they have faster handling. Now moving on to our exotic weapons. Graviton Lance got an increase in PvE damage by 67%. They also removed the extra aim assist provided by the catalyst, and they reduced the damage dealt by the cosmology explosion by 40% against players, but the damage in PvE was unchanged. Now we already went over the damage values in our individual review of Graviton Lance. Guys, it's pumping out a hell of a lot more damage inside of PvE. It's quite nice, but the cosmology pre versus post PvP damage is substantial. Was doing 106 with cosmology, now it's doing 61, which just essentially just means less likely to get the multi-kill with cosmology. Again, guys, check out our review. We played with it inside of PvP and inside of PvE. We did a full breakdown of Graviton Lance. We'll link that down below. Now, no time to explain. Bungie reduced the range stat by 10. Now, pre 7.1.5, it had an 80 range stat, which means it did not experience damage fall up until around 36.5 to 37 meters. Post 7.1.5 though, that has dropped it down to 35 meters at 70 range. That's a significant drop, guys. When we're talking 35 meters of range, dude, you have hand cannons outranging this pulse rifle. Next, we have Fighting Lion. They fixed an issue where the Chimera perk on the catalyst was not applying the buffs to kinetic and power slot weapons. That means pre 7.1.5, there was no handling or aim assist benefits. Post, you can actually notice the increase here in handling. The aim assist also felt stronger too. This is a weird one because Chimera has worked before, and then for some reason it broke, but whatever the case, it's working again. Now moving on to our perks. I want to mention that we are going into more depth on a lot of these perks this week, most notably Gutshot Straight. We did a video going over all the weapons that can roll with Gutshots and our thoughts on Gutshots, but essentially Bungie has reduced the auto aim penalty by 37.5%. Again, this is a perk that buffs your body shot damage. Bungie's way of balancing this perk though is by decreasing target acquisition. Again, it's a double-edged sword. Well, Bungie's essentially toned down that edge. They reduced auto aim penalty by 37.5%. Now, according to Light.gg and D2 Foundry, pre 7.1.5, we had a minus 55% auto aim. And you may have noticed, especially if you weren't using enhanced Gutshot just did not feel good. It made every weapon feel pretty bad. Post 7.1.5, it should be sitting at about a minus 17.5% auto aim now, and even less than that with enhanced. From our testing, guys, it feels better. And I definitely think that Gutshot Straight is worth trying now. In a private match with a BXR with enhanced Gutshot Straight, that felt good too. So I know no one really wants to try out Gutshot Straight, and quite honestly, it was a garbage perk. You know, anything that hurts target acquisition, no one wants to use that kind of perk, right? We are going to be giving it a go this week. There are certain weapons that the added forgiveness is a good enough trade-off. Now, Slickdraw. Reduce auto aim penalty by 33%. Now, pre 7.1.5, Light.gg and D2 Foundry had it at minus 80% auto aim, and it did not feel great at all. For some reason, Bungie kept giving me Mercurials with Slickdraw. We have an Exalted Truth with Slickdraw and Gutshot, which pretty much means this weapon was worthless. Now, post 7.1.5, the auto aim now should be minus 47%. Now, just to be frank, guys, and again, this is something more subjective, but in our testing, it still doesn't feel that great. Both with the Ikelos Sniper and Mercurial, it just wasn't popping. Could be a fault of the sniper rifle, could be the fault of the sniper. And as we play more and more this week with some weapons with Slickdraw, maybe things will start to open up for us. Again, there's some of you that swear up and down about Slickdraw, even before this buff. Now, as far as our Gutshot, Slickdraw, Exalted Truth, it did feel a little bit better, and I'm keeping this roll just because how bad on paper this roll actually is. But both of these perks combined, guys, without them being craftable perks, still doesn't feel good. And in a lot of ways, guys, I still wouldn't recommend Slickdraw, only on weapons that desperately need that handling. Now, moving on to the big one, Target Lock. Reduce maximum damage versus players from 40% to now 25%. Now, this damage in PvE is unchanged. The big one we wanted to test this on was Immortal. Pre 7.1.5, if we started doing damage to the body, it would do 15 at base and ramp up to 18, landing all body shots. It can actually go up to 21 if we were to ramp it up that full 40%. Now, for our crit damage values, it would start off at 22 and ramp up to 25, landing all crits. Would be 31 for that 40% buff, but again, not enough health there against most guardians, so the fight would already be concluded. It also had a 0.67 0.67 time to kill value and 9 crits with target lock, which takes us to post 7.1.5 with Immortal again. Now our crit values still starts off at 22 base and will ramp up to 24, landing all crits. Now its body shot damage would start off at 15 base and would ramp up to 17, landing all body shots. Now the big question we wanted to answer, is the time to kill still the same? Can you still get a kill in 0.67 seconds with 9 crits? Turns out, guys, you can. And listen, I was not expecting this. I thought the taper would be much worse. But at least for an aggressive SMG like Immortal, that bump there in damage, which again, I was the first one to be like, target lock is going to be destroyed. It's still good. Guys, it's still good. You're still going to be able to achieve a 0.67 time to kill value and 9 crits on any resilience level with an Immortal. Where this is going to change is in body shot time to kill values, is in forgiveness, and it's also going to change depending on the archetype of the weapon you are using. Target lock may not be the go-to option I use on Age-O Bond or Rufus's Fury, but it may still be a great option here on an aggressive SMG like Immortal. Again, what makes target lock such a good perk is the fact that it can proc mid gunfights. Now you may be wondering, Cross, what the hell? Why hasn't Bungie killed off target lock? Look, maybe the range nerfs, like maybe that's what Bungie is hoping is going to really rein things in between the range nerfs, the nerf to rangefinder. Again, it's that range compression. But no, time to kill wise, nothing has changed here. Immortal is still killing as fast as Immortal was killing before, albeit less forgiving in body shot TTK. Now, changes that were also included in the patch notes, which we didn't even have leading up to them. This was actually just kind of snuck in there. Whisper of Chains, reduced damage reduction in PvP from 15 to now 5%. Now with the Nikolos SMG, where you're hitting 22 damage per crit and 15 per body, when an enemy has Whisper of Chains, this merely drops the damage down to 20 damage per crit and 14 per body. This was 1000% a targeted nerf at Stasis Titans. Whisper of Rime, this was a heavy nerf, not just affecting PvP players, but also PvE players. They reduced the max overshield amount from 100 HP to now 50 HP. They also reduced overshield gain per Stasis Shard from 12.5 HP to 5 HP. Non-player combatants now deal 50% damage to Whisper Rime overshield, but the biggest killer about all this, guys, is the amount of Stasis overshield. That being less in total, as well as you gaining less overshield, that right there is the killer. Now, Cerberus +1. Bungie reduced the damage to Stasis crystals. Post, it now takes 4 shots to break the crystal in normal fire mode and 3 shots to break it in the focus fire mode. Now, I know, out of all the things that could have been done to Cerberus, why this? Look, let's just be real. After these Stasis changes, there's not going to be many people rocking Stasis inside of PvP. At least, not my icy behemoth boys that would be playing Fortnite on a control point. It's just not going to happen, man. And Cerberus was our go-to weapon for that, right? Breaking those Stasis crystals. With that being said, though, man, when I first saw Cerberus, I was really hoping I was going to read like some sort of buff or maybe even a rework to the exotic catalyst, but unfortunately, that is not the case. Well, guys, that is your pre and post testing for this mid-season patch. Again, the big change, the 1 to range, that's not actually going to hit until next season, as well as the buff hitting all hand cannons inside of PvE. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.